Good morning, bunnies. Before we get started today, I do want to apologize about my Caldari lore video and how sparse it was. I still wasn't feeling that great, but I wanted to make a video, and that actually was my third take in doing so. Sorry. Anyway, today we will be talking about the Gallente and their lore while we fight against them as the Caldari in factional warfare. Irony, right? Okay, so the Gallente history is really very intertwined with the Caldari history. And it's really rather complicated. So this is actually going to be more of an overview of both of them, I guess, but more focusing on the Gallente side. The Gallente, of course, come from the system of Luminaire, along with the Caldari, although they came from Gallente Prime. Excuse me. They actually discovered the Caldari quite early, during their industrial renaissance. They built rather powerful telescopes and managed to see Caldari Prime and the fact that it had settlements and people on it. This really brought the Gallente people together as a group, and seeing themselves more as the people of this planet as opposed to the people of these nations. The two groups began communicating back and forth, the Caldari and the Gallente, and then began to expand and expand. The Caldari and the Gallente worked together in founding the Federation, and began moving beyond Luminary, building the Stargate system, all through sublight drives, which took forever. During this time, they did discover two other civilizations, both pre-spaceflight and both mostly pre-industrial, if I'm not mistaken. The first was the Intaki, who were a very agrarian society. And the second were the Manar, who had already invented the printing press and long-distance sailing ships, but still participated in the practice of human sacrifices during their religious worships. Due to some of the Gallente interference itself, and them giving technology to certain sections of the Manar population, war broke out on the surface of Manar between the factions that had Gallente support and the factions that didn't have Gallente support. This was rather troubling to the Gallente themselves. Yeah, I'm about to die here. This was rather troubling to the Gallente. But, however, they managed to, during this time period, invent faster than light travel. The warp drive. The warp drive. This enabled them to travel long distances at very great rates, and enabled them to actually get to Manar with a fast enough time frame that they were able to defuse the situation. and protect and basically right the wrongs that they had felt they had committed. During this time, the Gallente also discovered the fluid router, which allowed for faster than light communications as well as travel. Excuse me. And they also contacted and were contacted by the Jovians. The Jovians, of course, threatened them with the fact that if they would trade and communicate with the Gallente people, but if their presence was revealed to the Gallente people, they would cut off all contact with the Gallente, or with the Federation, sorry. Because it was, in fact, the Federation that they were dealing with at this time. Of course, during all of this, the Gallente and the Caldari, together as the Federation, were colonizing new worlds. However, unbeknownst to most of the people within the Federation, the Gallente, the Caldari megacorporations were actually also conducting and building colonies of their own in secret. These were owned and operated by the megacorps, and were never reported to anyone else within the Federation. This was discovered when a Menard survey ship ran across one of the colonies. This exploded in the Senate, the Federation Senate, as the Gallente senators demanded that the Caldari megacorporations turn over control turn control over to the colonies themselves, as was supposed to happen, and to basically repent of what they had done. The Caldari refused. The Caldari senators just flatly refused the whole thing. Not much was done after that until... Well, I can't really say that. This was not a good... Within the Gallente Federation, this caused lots of turmoil. Excuse me. And led to the election of many ultra-nationalist Gallente senators. These senators came to power, and basically the first thing they did was demand that the colonies be flatly turned over to the Federation, become Federation property, and in response, the Caldari senators got up and walked out. The next day, the Chief Executive Panel was formed, and a declaration of cessation was delivered to the Senate by the Caldari Executive Panel, or the Chief Executive Panel. This, of course, incensed everybody, or incensed the Gallente senators. They were declared as rebels. And, many people were unhappy. They blockaded Caldari Prime. The Gallente Navy blockaded Caldari Prime. Again, demanding the cessation, or the withdrawal of the cessation, and for the megacorps to basically turn themselves over. I got a kill. The tensions on the planet built to the point where the Templis Dragonars, a militant ultranational Caldari faction, came in and blew up one of the underwater cities that the Gallente had been using as cities. They had built them underwater to give them more space to live. This killed roughly 500,000 Caldari citizens, or Gallente citizens, and really, really incensed the Gallente hardliner, or ultranationalists. As a result, the elected Gallente president resigned. The ultranationals used that to get their own person appointed to president. And his first action was to declare martial law, which many within the Gallente Federation considered impossible, because it wasn't, a country. It was a collection of peoples, of colonies. But he used the might of the Gallente Navy to enforce this. His second action was to order the bombardment of Caldari Prime and demand the immediate and unconditional surrender of the Caldari people. This did not go well. Most of the cities had been evacuated, anticipating this. The Caldari people held out, basically. They moved out of the cities into the foothills and into the tundra. Ground forces were sent in by the Gallente Navy, but the Caldari knew the terrain, and the Gallente didn't know where to find the Caldari military personnel. So it basically became a stalemate for a month. This again did not sit well within the Caldari, or within the Gallente Federation. They tried very hard to maintain their control. Or the ultranationals tried very hard to maintain their control. They would replace admirals, politicians, anybody who disagreed with them or their methods were pretty much instantly replaced. This, of course, led to instability within the military. And that instability allowed the Caldari to escape the blockade. They pushed through the blockade, and then an attack was formed, or attack against Gallente Prime was taken by one of their admirals, crashing one of their capital-class ships into the surface of Gallente Prime. This allowed enough time for Caldari Prime to be evacuated This led to massive demonstrations and revolts within the Gallente Federation. Well, not revolts, more like riots. A bunch of Intaki leaders were arrested and exiled. Massive protests were taken in front of the Gallente presidential palace, which really made the president unhappy. To help quell that, the president rescinded martial law, and immediately the Senate took a vote of no confidence within the president. Sorry, we'll be done in just a moment. Basically pushing him out of office. This, of course, led to massive internal reforms. The Ultranationals were outlawed. Some of them were brought to trial. And the structures that are currently in place within the Federation were put in place. After that, basically the Gallente and Caldari War became a stalemate. Both sides were still hostile for about 100 years. Then the Caldari got the Pod and the Empyreans from the Jove. Shortly after that, the war technically ended with the foundation of the Concord and the signing of the UI treaties. The rogue drone incident, which I've talked about previous in our Code Aria video, my Code Aria video, happened, and then we're to the Imperium Age. And the war, as you see me fighting it now, started back up when a Gallente supercarrier carrying a peaceful mission to try to end the war outright was crashed into the Ishikone headquarters in Caldari space, and thus beginning the factional warfare conflicts that we continue today. Anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry for the bit of a long video, but hopefully that clears up some of the Caldari lore as well as all of the Gallente lore. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.